Popping off. How exciting to see you all here. Let's see. Shout out Tom Cares Too Much, Nikki Bex, Scramblegate. Yeah, we are gonna get into Scramblegate. Molly's Sleazy Friends is Molly. Shout out Molly. Vanna Jamma. Welcome, Vanna Jamma. I think you're new. You're new to the chat, are you not? Maybe not new to the stream, but new to the chat. Don't recognize your name. Also, Nikki Bex, you might also be new. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Jack on Cable TV. Shout out Jack, a regular.
Long time, all time.
We're here for the explanations. Yeah, I'm definitely here for some explanations. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Jay Kutka, welcome back. Love to see Jay Kutka back. McConnor Talk. Tom Cares Too Much. All right, sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I was going to say that tonight, not only are we going to talk about Below Deck Sailing Yacht, we are, for real, you can hear a car going vroom vroom outside.
Yeah.
We are going to talk about F1 Drive to Survive. Is that what it's called? Drive to Survive?
Yeah, Drive to Survive. F1 Drive to Survive.
I keep calling it other things in my mind. They're like, F1, gotta go fast. F1 Drive to Survive is a docu-series about Formula One racing on Netflix that we've been talking about maybe watching, and Anna's been watching it. I finally watched it. We'll talk about that later on in the show.
It's exciting times. You know, I was finally able to manipulate Molly into watching it.
When I saw the Instagram video of you had said you might Twitch stream yourself playing the Formula One game.
Yeah.
And then you did. And I just saw a photo of you behind the wheel. And I thought, that looks cool.
Yeah.
I do want to know more about this world.
Yeah, I did buy pedals and the remote control Logitech steering wheel.
It looks so fun. And if we can ever go into each other's houses, I would like
you've got to come over and race.
I want to play.
And yeah, I actually go ahead.
Oh yeah, it just looks fun.
It is fun. There's definitely a learning curve because you're like going really fast and it's really scary. Like to me it's really scary at first, but then once you get used to it, you're like, it's a video game. What am I so freaked out about? It's not real.
No, it reminded me that I love driving games, actually. Mm-hmm. I love Cruising USA, Cruising World. That's basically USA. What F1 is it's Cruising World.
Now, is that a game, Cruising USA?
Yeah, it was like a arcade game. Ask
Oh.
Zach about it. Get producer Zach out here to talk about Cruisin',
Did you ever
the
play
Cruisin' game
Cruising
series.
USA?
It's like
He's
the
not
game
listening.
at the arcade that has a wheel, and it was like racetracks all over the world. And you're cruising.
And you're
You're just
cruising.
in a casual race with a bunch of other drivers. Vanna Jamma says Cruising USA was always at movie theaters.
Oh,
LOL, that's
interesting.
probably where I played it. Jack on Cable TV says Big Shout, Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit.
Oh, I haven't played that one. I honestly have
No,
only
if I know
played
that.
the F1 game because it's fun to try and understand those cars because they seem so high tech. It's like intriguing to me. I want to shout out that psycher who actually watched me stream. We had a nice stream chat. Thanks for coming to watch the Deckheads stream. In a chapter, shout out. Erica, welcome, Erweka. I know you, Erweka. We go back. Me and Erweka go back. We've been around the block together. Podcast block. Vanna Jamma, you hate jumping and shit in video games? Yeah. It's
just gotta go. You just want to go fast.
Nikki Bex, yes, this is another Fenty red lipstick. Today's a red theme. I don't know if you guys noticed. I'm going all red. I also got this shirt that I wanted to wear that says abuse of power. Comes as no surprise because we have a lot of abuse of power in the news right now with violence and murder. So fuck that. Fuck abuse of power. So I wanted to really rock the red. I hear Molly's cat.
Yeah, sorry. One of my cats is going a little nutso in the background. I'll see if I can get them on camera.
Please.
Like we're like talking about something serious, and my cat is like meow, meow,
No,
meow,
that's
meow,
fine.
meow,
That's
meow,
fine.
meow, 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 meow.
They have thoughts. They're like, fuck that. Fuck the abuse of power.
And they're like, I want to be the. It's like, you know, I Love Lucy. She's like, I want to be in the show.
Yeah.
Put me on camera. I'm wearing a muted red sort of color, a maroon. I decided halfway through the day it's because I was watching, it's Picasso, and I was watching the F1 in Le Europe.
Le Europe. I like that. What was it? There's that video from like E-Bombs or whatever, the animated, where it's like, let's shoot the Le Missiles after Le Nap, and then we will shoot the Le Missiles.
That is what the F1 show is like.
Yeah.
Again, save it for the second half, for the back half.
Sorry.
Let's start off with are we drinking any beverages tonight?
Oh yes. Yes. I went to my classic beverage which is the Diet Coke Espresso Martini. It's nasty as it sounds. I accidentally put way too much whipped cream up top. I needed the energy though. I was a little low energy today. So
it's become a classic. I honestly think we could get other people to drink Coke in a martini glass with whipped cream on it. It's just kind of like a root beer float or a cream soda or something, but also it looks amazing on screen. Looks just delightful. I this week brought real coffee that I made for the same reason. A little tired, need a little pick me up.
So it is an espresso martini kind of.
Yeah, so it's kind of an espresso martini. I'm drinking coffee out of a martini glass. I realized last week I hold a martini glass like a total weirdo.
Yeah.
I think you're supposed to hold it like by the stem, I'm guessing, but I kind of hold it.
I thought you were supposed to hold it like.
I hold it by this,
neck,
like it's like an
body.
Enchanted, like a goblet.
I thought you were supposed to hold it like that. I always feel like James Bond holds it like this. Is that crazy?
Here's a story, an off the record story. Somebody who I know, who knows one of the James Bonds, I'll just say
Sean Connery,
a more recent James Bond,
Daniel Craig.
He had
the most
an opportunity to make a drink for this Bond, and he requested an espresso martini.
That's cool. So James Bond doesn't even like a regular martini or whatever, the guy who plays James Bond. I'm guessing can I guess who it is, and you can like blink 6 times if I'm right?
Sure.
Daniel Craig? Was that a yes?
Yeah, it's that.
I forgot what I asked you to do.
Well, it also, like, if you think about it, it makes sense in his time period that he'd be a person who likes espresso martinis. But But I also just like the idea that like your modern James Bond drinks an espresso martini because he
Ugh.
needs a little pick-me-up.
Yeah, okay, actually, on that note, Vanna Jamma wrote about the guy from the guy from Summer House's espresso martini that's canned. We did see that. Sorry if you sent me the message or us the message on Instagram, please remind me. I need to go back and look who sent that to us. Sorry, I didn't write it down.
Yes, thank you so much for the
Lillian.
tip.
Victoria Lillian, thank you for letting us know. I don't know if you're watching, but
for sure want to drink the canned espresso martini from Kyle Cook of Summer House, who launched his canned wine product Loverboy during the pandemic.
That's right.
Nevertheless, it's allegedly a great success. I will say that the espresso martini ad they did, that Amanda did, presumably, extremely well done.
Oh, okay,
great
shout
job.
out. It's Vicky Bros. Shout out Vicky Bros. Thanks for sending that to us.
Oh, thank you, Vicky Bros. I definitely want to try it. And also it reminds me of like, I feel like way before I could drink, you would just see like canned cocktails at the liquor store. And that's like what, as a kid, I thought seemed cool to drink if you were an adult, was like a pina colada in a can.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Is that not a thing as much anymore?
Well, I think it's coming back, especially because of COVID.
Yeah.
People are drinking all kinds of new canned alcoholic beverages. White Claw obviously had a big boom, but I think the
White
road
Claw,
forward, you know, what we've seen in our coffee cola experiments is like coffee is trending and canned alcohol drinks are trending. So when you put them together, you get Loverboy's Espresso Martini, which obviously we'll mention as many times as Bravo wants if they
of course.
will just send us a case of it for free.
It looks like Vicky Bro says $50 for a case of that. Loverboy.
Yeah, the prices are insane on Loverboy, which is also why I'm asking for it for free.
Yeah, I don't see myself spending that much money on booze. That's going to be like, I don't even know.
No, I would never spend that much money on booze. My understanding of the whole Loverboy gambit was that you were making a product to be specifically given away at like Hamptons parties.
Right.
And then the summer kind of got canceled for things like Hamptons parties. So I don't know how they raised another round of funding or whatever, but you know, I love me some Summer House, so.
I gotta watch more Summer House. I really do. I watched the first 2 or 3 seasons. No, I watched the seasons before they completely revamped it. But I remember Lindsay.
We should talk about it here sometime. I've been doing like a Summer House podcast by myself, but I'd way rather talk about it with another human being.
You're like, and today on Summer House.
Well, they just introduced a new character who's like an incredibly embarrassing older boyfriend of one of them, and he's like,
love it,
very clearly a podcast comedian. And Hannah, one of the main characters, is a podcaster as well. So they do a lot of jokes that are like, oh yeah, Hannah's so busy, and they cut to her like in bed on her phone and it just says like podcaster.
Oh, Vicky Bros is asking what your Summer House podcast is called.
It's called Summer House Quarantine. And you can find it on my Patreon, which is Molly's Sleazy Friends, like the name I'm using in this chat. I kind of started it just because I was so stressed out during lockdown. I was like, I need to go do something. So I'm going to like go talk about Summer House in my car. But it's interesting because now it's looped around to a point where they are actually experiencing the quarantine on the new season of Summer House. Which in some ways is great for the show. It's kind of like this season of Sailing Yacht. It just like ups the claustrophobia by a lot.
Which is, I think that's great because that's where the real shit goes.
Well, they get shitty drunk because they're all like waspy white people on that show. So they're like very polite and then they get like trashed at night. And then they get in big fights and it's funny for me to enjoy.
I can dig it. I should start watching. Someone said it gets better after season 3, and that's all. Vanna Jamma said that, and that's all I've ever heard. I think I started watching it. Was like, I don't know. And
they
then I
rebooted
stopped.
it. There were like 2 incarnations, and the first incarnation was a very 2000s reality show. It starred 2 hot blonde San Diego volleyball playing twins named the Workus Twins.
Right.
And they were just like a real 2000s reality type of like, we're hot and we're twins. And then they both like got married and left the show. They rebooted it with some younger single people and kept some of the older people. And that was a great idea.
All right. Well, I'll get back in. I'll get back in for you.
Vanna Jamma asked, who are they buying Adderall from during the panorama, though? I'm sure they've got some doctor in the city who's given all these people the speed they need.
Yeah, those people know where to get
be on
their
reality
drugs.
TV.
They know damn well where to get their drugs. Okay, well, okay, let's get into some Below Deck. Some BDS.
Some BDS yacht.
Yeah. Some yeah, so let's start talking. Okay, we'll go kind of in order. I don't know. You know, we never go in order. But let's talk about the throuple. I want to talk about the throuple situation because that's like the main plot point of the show currently is the what are their names? Allie, Sydney, and Gaza.
Allie, Sydney, and Gary. The throuple plotline, which seemed like sort of a fun, playful plotline at the end of last week, immediately took the darkest possible turn.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this week.
Mm-hmm.
It took a minute to unlock what was actually had happened, but basically what we saw was like Gary wakes up the next morning with a girl in his bed, and they take a minute to reveal which girl it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you really couldn't tell when they were in bed together because it was like muffled and they were drunk babbling. But it was Sydney.
Oh, you're right. It was Sydney. I said Allie. I knew it wasn't Allie. I said that by accident.
It was Sydney doing something that is definitely like a form of assault.
Well, yeah.
Like not funny or cute, just creepy.
Mostly also weird part, egged on by Allie to get in the bed.
Well, I think they were all so drunk by that point.
Yeah. They were taking shots.
Allie was trying to diffuse the love triangle by being like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Go for it, girl. Assuming Gary just like wants to have sex because that is his whole personality.
Yeah. Classic Gaza.
It was kind of, I mean, not funny, but like seeing Gary be like, oh, that was fucked up.
Yeah. He was pissed.
He was pissed, and he wasn't as pissed as he should have been, I think, because he sort of like had to play it off, or maybe he feels guilty for like leading Sydney on in the first place, but she is.
Well, he's told her multiple times he's not into it. That's the thing.
She doesn't listen, and they called her like a stage 5 clinger.
Right.
But it's worse than that. It's like she refers to him as like, I'm in love with him. She's like, you know how it is to work with your ex-boyfriend on a boat. And
how is she in love with him?
Oh my God, he's not your boyfriend. Like, you made out like 1.5 times.
She's like, breakups are so tough.
Yeah, she's like, you know, like feelings are complicated and I'm in so deep. And Allie's like, I need to get away from these people because Sydney's gonna murder me if I hook up with Gary, and it's not worth it because he's Gary.
Exactly.
And that's what Colin says too. Colin's like, these girls are fighting over Gary.
Yeah, and he's like, but
why?
But
it's Gary.
But
he's
why?
Disgusting.
That's what I don't understand, because okay, so Allie and Sydney have a talk when they're drunk, and Allie and Sydney's like, I really like him. I really, really like him, which leads Allie to be like, okay, I'm gonna back off, and then convince her to get into Gary's bed.
There's a parallel thing on Summer House this season with a love triangle where it's like somebody is like so grossed out by the way the person they thought they liked is treating another girl that they're like, you know what, actually I don't even like you either.
Right.
And like, you have fun with all that. You chose your choice.
Interesting. Now, it doesn't necessarily feel like that's what's happening with Allie and Sydney, though, because it seems like Allie just wants, low-key wants Sydney to back up, but it's not.
But seems like Allie just kind of admits, though, that she also just kind of wants attention.
Yeah.
That it's not Gary specifically, and maybe she even a little bit enjoys at first that he's like throwing over this other girl because he'd rather flirt with her, even
Yeah.
if it's just because of like the novelty. But then it seems like things got scary, and she was like, you know what? I just can't do this.
Well, she was okay. Also, I do want to say the person who should be pissed is Colin, who has to deal with all that when he's trying to sleep. Just
He thinks it's funny though.
But okay, let's actually hit on one point where Sydney gets into so whatever, they jump off the boat, they all get drunk, and then they eventually go to bed, and Glenn has a really funny line about their behavior is the reason why he's never had children. Valid.
Yeah.
But there was one point, okay, actually not one point. Well, so Sydney gets in Gary's bed after Allie convinces him to, and then Sydney's just talking all night to Gary about how their relationship is going to progress to Florida and they're going to be like boyfriend and girlfriend, and he's like asleep, and it makes no sense.
I mean, again, I'm not sure if that was just like audio editing to make it clear that like he was asleep the whole time, but they made it appear as though he fell asleep in the middle of her talking, that he passed out drunk and started snoring.
Yeah.
But you also didn't realize till later that all of this was non-consensual and he was probably already passed out when she got in the bed, which is so creepy of her.
Yeah.
And really should be grounds for her to be like thrown off the boat or like reprimanded in some way. But Gary really played it off like, oh, whatever, it was freaky, but like, oh, it's on me. I'm such a big slut, haha.
Well, Gary's like, I went to bed alone and woke up with a girl, but they were all just so drunk. It's like hard to like.
Right, because I don't think.
I don't know about that.
I mean, who knows? They were all so drunk.
But she shouldn't have gotten into his
Vanna
bed.
Gemma says men don't want to admit they were victimized in any way. I mean, that's what it seemed like with Gary. It seems like his masculinity is so fragile that he couldn't be like, hey, I was assaulted, because he was just like, haha, when a strange woman crawls in bed with you, it's very horny and randy.
Yeah.
Haha, right, lads? Because he always feels like he's wildly overcompensating in some way.
Yeah.
But it's like she wasn't making sense. She was like, we're gonna have a family, you can work for my family, and then you can just live in Australia, and
and he's like, and she's like, Gary, are you asleep? Like, yes, bitch, you climbed into his bed when he was already passed out. Also, I want to say, like, sorry, she started on one side and then she woke up on the other side of him. So what happened there?
It was like we were primed for something else bad to happen, which is we thought they were all going to get in trouble for jumping into the ocean naked late at night. But instead, Captain Glenn seemed to be like, haha, whatever about that. They all like climbed back on the boat immediately.
Well, and they had to climb a bunch of rocks.
Shots. They were just playing like, it was such a bad idea.
Yeah.
And then they were just playing chicken with like who's going to bed.
Yeah.
Sydney every time is like, how about more shots, guys? Yeah, she was being like a stereotypical frat boy behavior, just being like, do more shots until I get what I want. I'm gonna just like overpower you with just like persistence. And it was fucking creepy. And it reminded me of a really old reality TV thing of on The Real World. I think it's Los Angeles, when somebody gets in a sleeping bag with somebody else against their consent, and they're like extremely mad about it, and they get kicked off the show. I think it's Kevin and Tammy.
That's not good. That's so in a chapter says if the roles gender were reversed, it would not have gone down like that. And I agree.
I completely agree. That's like the Real World one was like the reverse. It was like a girl being like, don't get in the sleeping bag with me, I'm naked. And
she was naked?
I think she was naked. Somebody who remembers 90s Real World, please chime in. I think it's scary for anyone that blacks out drunk and like wakes up in a situation they don't remember getting into. I think Gary was probably so freaked out that that's also why he was trying to laugh it off, is because it was like genuinely scary.
Well, it was. I can't even like. It would freak me out to know, like, I would be like, what the fuck? Especially if I was that drunk and I woke up next to someone and I didn't really have a memory of why. And, like, she was, like, embarrassed and upset afterward and, like,
She was
said she
embarrassed, but
hated
it was like,
herself. But it was like, you need to
he said,
understand what you did, though. Like, for real. It's not
I feel like
okay.
he said no to her several times now. He said it like sober during the daytime and also drunk at night. And drunk at night, he's like a little more flirty, but he clearly is not interested in her. He's more
Well, he said
interested
it so
in
many
Allie, and
times.
that clearly just makes her insane, makes Sydney go like crazy and be like, I have to just like interfere. And you know, everyone's been there. It's not a rational behavioral response to be like, if I can't be happy, like nobody can. But that is like, seems like what she's going for. I do not think it's a normal thing to crawl into bed with somebody that you like who's rejected you. That is like never
No.
okay, and she should know better. And somebody on Twitter, friend of the pod, John Levenstein, was saying he wondered if production was like present when that happened because he felt like they should have interfered and stopped her from doing that.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I was like, I don't know. I mean, like, I imagine they were filming them on deck, but I always assume that when they go into the bedrooms, it's just like a wall mounted camera that films them sleeping in case anything happens. Because they show that's like how they show them having sex sometimes. And I
Yeah.
always am like, I assume there's not like a person filming them having sex, that it's like,
No. I think it's like a mounted what do you call motion sensor camera.
yeah. What do you guys think? Do you think that the production had a responsibility to step in when they saw that Sydney was gonna get in bed with Gary, or do you think they were like, reality show hijinks, like let's just see what happens?
That's I do the thing is at night I don't understand exactly how production works. So it's like, is there
And
someone there to be like to step in?
Nikki Beck says production was probably monitoring the footage at the time but not present on the boat. You know what? That is the most,
Yeah.
that's probably it. There's probably somebody who has to stay awake all night and like watch the video village, because that is the kind of thing they do on that kind of reality show with like a million cameras. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do they, is it like a nature film where they're like, we just won't interfere with like what the cast members are doing unless it's flagrantly going to break the law?
In a chapter made a good point that they didn't get involved when Kate was kissed against her will by Ashton. I think
That's
they
true.
did actually get involved when he punched the window because they were like, pull the van over, and they were like, no, we need to keep moving. Ashton, I don't actually remember what they did. Maybe they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say too, I think the culture is changing, and some of the things that they had in the early seasons like would not fly now, particularly with regards to how they kind of just like brush off some of the people just hitting on them as like part of the job.
Yeah. I can't
I think
imagine that if someone was on the boat, they would not have interfered, but I don't know.
I do feel like if the genders had been reversed, they might have been quicker to step in. And the fact that it was Sydney, they were like, they just edit her also as sort of like a harmless kook, rather than like, I mean, she's also just seems like a psycho. She seems like a harmless psycho, but this was not harmless. This was like, oh no, she, it's bad.
I think Sydney needs therapy in the sense because of all the things she's told us about Ace. Come on, my dog is just biting on his chew toy.
It's okay. My cat finally got to food, so
nice.
she is hopefully going to be more quiet.
Everything that Sydney has said about her, like, needing to always be in a relationship or, like, always has to go out and has, like, guys on the back burner at all times, is always dating someone, doesn't like to be alone.
She's, like, self-aware about what her issue is, where she's like, I clearly just need attention, And she was just like trying to stop Gary and Allie from being alone because she knew that if she left them alone, they would make out. And as long as she's there, they like wouldn't, which was just really awkward. So awkward.
Actually, yeah, Vanna Jamma says she reminds me of Kat from OG Below Deck season 1.
Yes. Yeah, and Jack on Cable TV says, I think Gary did a pretty good job drawing a firm line, so hopefully she'll be chill physically from here on out. Yeah, I mean, I also was like weirdly proud of Gary for like stepping up and setting boundaries.
Did Gary only draw that line because Allie was being a bitch to him? Because he seemed to come in, at first he was like, I don't know what happened there, and Sydney was like, I don't know, I don't recall, and then Allie got upset with him and was like, you know, you say all this stuff about how you want to be like hanging out with me and get to know me, but you're like sleeping in a bed with another girl. And then she got upset, he got upset, and then he went and took it out on Sydney and was like, that's enough, don't ever do that again, you can't climb into my bed in the middle of the night. And that's like, it's just not a good, that situation. The throuple it's not good. It's not a good
toxic
situation at
throuple.
all.
It's not going to work out in any direction. The only direction it could possibly work out in is if Allie and Sydney hook up. And at this point, I think that would be bad for Allie. So
yeah,
I think they all need to be alone. Vanna Jamma says, these girls make no sense. I'd be banging Colin all night and every break. Colin has a girlfriend. That is why Colin is not part of the sexy hijinks, is because he has a girlfriend and he's loyal to her. We all agree.
He won't even get in
Colin
the hot tub.
is by far the hottest guy on the boat. Yeah. With the best personality. Both.
McConnor Talk says, is this throuple worse than the JWoww Brooke? Jesus, scares me every time. Is it worse? Actually, that's shout out Bacon and Eggs. That's my friend Jose. Hey Jose.
Hey Jose.
Jose and I went to college together, so shout out Bacon and Eggs. Yeah, okay. So McConnor Talk says, is it worse than JWoww, Brooke, and Casey? And if you guys, JWoww is Joao. We call him JWoww. No, because I don't think it's worse than that, because like the girls, like, I don't think Brooke and Casey were like the three of them were not hanging out. Like Joao would be like pulling each of them aside separately. There was never like a three-way like interaction, like the way that what are their names? Allie, Sydney, and Gary had at night. Like they never did that. Which
I mean, that whole night just seemed like one of those things where it's like, at first it's like, oh, maybe you'll make out with this person. And then it's like, oh, maybe we'll all make out. And then it just goes so far past that into a point of drunkenness where it's like nobody is functioning enough to like do anything. Just like call it a night, take it to bed. Don't get in somebody else's bed that is passed out ever. And talk in the morning.
Off Moon 24, which I think you're new. Thanks for joining us. I haven't seen your name before. Wrote, Allie made a comment on some live about how she doesn't want to hook up with a guy on Charter, and Danny and Daisy were giggling about, but a girl though. I mean, there's been so much like all the coming ups imply that two girls are gonna hook up or something, and I thought it was like Allie and Danny, but maybe it was Sydney. I don't know.
Well, I was gonna say, but also like, do we know anything about Danny or Daisy's sexuality?
No.
Right?
No, I don't think so.
Like, what if I think I'm starting to ship like Daisy and Allie.
Really?
You know, like a free spirit and then sort
Daisy
of an uptight cheap Sue, and then it's like she unlocks the free spirit, you know?
It doesn't... I don't even know if Daisy could handle that.
I don't think she could, but what if it like made her chill out? I think a lot of these people just need to get laid on the boat, and they would not pick fights as much.
That's true. Nikki Beck says Daisy's sexual orientation is good plating and correctly made eggs, which you're not wrong, my queen. You are not wrong there.
McConnor Talk says Daisy times Natasha enemies to lovers fanfic. Agree.
If that happened, I would be floored. Absolutely floored if that happened.
Just saying anything can happen, especially because so many of the girls look so similar that when you see the previews of what's going to happen, you're like, who is that?
Yeah, hard to say who's doing what. I mean, like, we know Natasha doesn't get involved, it feels like. Yes, Natasha. Okay, sorry. Off Moon 24 said Daisy and Natasha were hanging out together this week. Jack, is that you that sent us a DM on Instagram where Daisy and Natasha were at Frank Martini's house for a viewing party last night?
His house? I thought that was a picture from when he was on the boat.
No, that's his house.
God.
That's
there was so much drama in that post.
Yes, Captain Sandy commented being like, "This is the chef who hates me," and it's like, dude, what?
No, okay, I figured out what that was about.
Oh, please tell me.
I think it was because when Natasha was on Watch What was on the show we call Andy Cohen's Got the 411, the after show. They had Natasha on and they were like, which captain would you want to have the most and the least? And I think she said, I love Captain Glenn. I'd also work with other captains. I think she just said like, I'd rather work.
I think she said she'd rather just work with Glenn. She liked Glenn.
She just was like, I like Glenn. I wouldn't choose any of the other captains. I don't think she said like specifically not Sandy, but I don't fully remember. But
I don't think she came for anyone. That's a thing.
And it was also just like, well, Glenn's like on her season. Like, of course she's gonna pick Glenn. It would be weird if she was.
Glenn is super chill.
A female chef should pick me because I'm a girl boss who punishes other women.
And also like talks down to like people who work in like wait service or whatever and like hospitality.
Calls people waitresses because they're not a fucking captain. Like it's so hard.
Started out so strong. Became a messy bitch so quick.
That's what I love about Bravo shows is you really get to know somebody well over a lot of seasons and you see how they change and how they don't change. And Captain Sandy just doubles down on her worst qualities.
Yeah.
To try and seem infallible. You know who else does that, coincidentally?
Who?
Natasha.
Should we talk about it?
It's time to talk. Talk about
let's talk about
break some eggs.
Well, yes, Egggate. Well, okay, let's really quickly touch on the guests. So the guests show up. It's Frank Martini. He was apparently originally part of that crew, the bro crew with that came in season 1 of Sailing. That was with that guy whose name was like, I don't know, it was like a bunch of guys being like, oh, where's my shrimp cocktail? I asked for shrimp cocktail 3 hours ago. Where's my shrimp cocktail? And so he was one of those guys, but he wasn't really like the obnoxious one or any of the, he just seemed like one of the older gentlemen who wasn't like super, he didn't appear a lot. But yeah, he's back. His name's Frank Martini. Oh, kitty. Is that your cat, Frank Martini, named after the guest, Frank Martini?
Yes, exactly. This is my cat, Espresso Martini. Her name is actually Wheezy. Yeah.
Like Little Wayne Wheezy.
Yes, and Louise Bourgeois. Very embarrassing / She's also very wheezy. She like everybody assumes it's because she's like snores a lot.
Yeah,
which she also does.
Yeah,
she was aptly named, and she's got these very curly whiskers, as you can see.
Hey, Wheezy.
Wheezy, you are a star. On the show.
I do want to say real quick, Nikki Bex wrote on Clubhouse, someone was saying that Natasha has staged at Michelin star restaurants but has never been a chef.
I was wondering after this episode if Natasha had maybe fudged her credentials a little bit just because, you know, she can't cook eggs. And I do feel like one of the first things they would make you do at, you know, Le Cordon Bleu or whatever wherever I assume you have to go to cook at a really good restaurant
is know the
learn
difference.
to make all the different kinds of eggs. And she was very like adamant that it meant something different to her and that she wasn't wrong. Other people just meant something else.
I didn't understand it. I don't know what eggs, like she's from what, Trinidad and Tobago, I believe. I know she's Trinidadian, but like I don't know what like
he clearly
eggs
has
are
a problem
there.
with breakfast, and I do think that it's like egg breakfasts are not a thing everywhere in the world. They're just a big thing in like Western countries.
Right. She wasn't interested. She was like, why do you want eggs for breakfast? Let me make you like other things.
Yeah. Like I feel like she probably can make a good breakfast. She just clearly, I mean, all the chefs hate, in a chapter says Ben also hates cooking breakfast. I will say the whole Anthony Bourdain book is about how much he hates brunch and about how like brunch is bullshit and all chefs hate cooking breakfast and brunch.
Interesting.
Because they think it's beneath them. They think that it's just like garbage food. People don't really care if it's good or not. They're just there to get drunk at brunch, especially.
Yeah.
But it has to be like, it's like you could cook the best omelet in the world and it wouldn't make a difference to people.
But if you said over easy, if you come to me, you're my waitress. I want eggs.
Vicky Bros said servers also hate serving it. I would like to know more about that. Why do servers hate serving breakfast?
That's interesting. But so if you're my waitress, I say eggs over easy. If you bring me scrambled eggs, regardless of how drunk I am, I'm going to be like, what? Like, I'm going to be just confused. I'll be like, I thought I asked for over easy eggs. I mean, like, they don't need to be the best over easy eggs, but they should be over easy.
Jay Kutka says it reminds me of when Hannah and Ben argued over what entree means.
Yeah, but
completely like, agree. Because it is like
that makes more sense.
But there has to be some kind of a standard just for yacht chefs where they know they're going to have to make a certain range of things, and that one of those things is probably going to be breakfast. I don't think it's weird for like your average person not to know the difference between all the different ways eggs are cooked, but I do think if you're a chef, I just would assume you have a working lexicon
of what an egg like.
Egg is.
I personally, I love eggs, and I love to have breakfast at all times of day, and I've like perfected the perfect like creamy scrambled egg. So like to me, when she was making scrambled and she was like, that's over easy, I immediately was like, no bitch, it's not. Because I actually have perfected an over easy egg as well. Because over easy used to be my favorite until I perfected my really creamy scramble. I used to be a sunny side up bitch. Then I decided to start flipping it. So eggs are very important to me. So I knew right away she's confused.
Dat Psycher says brunch shifts suck. It just attracts a certain type of person that are terrible to serve.
Yeah. Most of people.
I'm sure that's true. Yeah, I mean, I was like, I don't really know what over easy means, I think is what I found out. I didn't know. I mean, I was definitely like, that doesn't look like over easy. But to me, I was like, over easy is like, it's just a fried egg. Is that what it is?
I think of over easy as just like you flip your sunny side up. Okay, so if you have your sunny side up and then you flip it so it just fries on both sides, so it's over easy. I don't know necessarily what over easy means, but that's how I just know of it.
Yeah, I think I just don't know what over easy means, but like I was totally also confused, but I was like, I would have asked, because I would have been like, I don't know what over easy means. Could you ask the guest to clarify, especially because you just fucked up on the hollandaise egg if you're Natasha. But there's something about Natasha, I just like, I feel bad for her. And when she reacts badly, I'm like, no.
She gets so defensive. That's the problem. I just want to shout out another Josh Park. You look new. Thanks for joining us. Another Josh Backrow. I know I hated serving breakfast because it's much more chaotic than dinner service. Night people working on the morning post night out plus breakfast people are just so much more short with staff. That's interesting. Probably because, they just want to like drink their mimosas.
That's true. I worked in a cafeteria and I definitely felt like the breakfast shifts for like people are the most like not trying to have any kind of a social experience. Just like
actually food. Vanna Jamaro briefly flipped sunny side up. You can have over hard or medium. They just about the doneness. I see. So what over hard would be like a fully like you couldn't break the yolk. Interesting. I don't know what I like.
I like soft boiled. I like a poached egg.
I do like a poached egg as well. And I agree, like if I ask for a poached egg, I'm not looking for a soup of hollandaise sauce with it. If I asked for eggs Benedict, sure, I would like some hollandaise sauce, but again, not a soup version of it. Not something like like slurp up some hollandaise sauce. Well, I feel like
sometimes I order a poached egg and it comes where it's like so soft that it does just kind of like become a soup immediately, but I want that. That's what I want.
Yeah. Okay, so you'll like a good everyone wants eggs now. Yeah, Nikki Vex, we were just talking about eggs all day. Fry it up.
Do you like eggs Benedict?
I like all eggs. I'm a big egghead. I would have kept my Twitter photo to an egg if it wasn't so problematic.
I'm a big egg fan.
I grew up always having hard-boiled eggs on me. To this day, my mom will, anywhere I go, like if I'm at home but I'm going to go somewhere, she always sends me everywhere with hard-boiled eggs.
It's a little protein treat.
Mm-hmm. So I grew up egged out, mostly sunny side up. My dad makes a mean omelet. Like one of my favorite omelets are made by my dad. So like I was shocked by Natasha's behavior. And I was shocked that Daisy didn't just go, that's not over easy.
That's what I also was furious about. Because it was Daisy's job to say, actually, you did it wrong. But Daisy was like, no, I know she's just going to react badly, so I'm not even going to try to do it. I feel like I start talking like Daisy when I talk about her. I know she's going to react badly, so I'm not even going to try and do it.
But like, you know those weren't easy. Stop trying to be like, are you sure?
Like, yeah, you're sabotaging her and your own tip at this point. If you don't say, that's not an over easy egg. Like Natasha might be like, you're wrong, send it out. And then, but if you see it and you don't say anything, you're part of the problem, Daisy.
Because that would, like, I would have been like, honey, no, let me pull it up on my phone. That's over easy. See how when I Google it, it's over easy. I don't know where you're from, but these people are from America. They're Italian Americans. They want over easy.
This is a Frank Martini's trip. It's also funny that his name is Frank Martini's because
Frank Espresso Martini.
Espresso Martinis. Espresso Martinis.
That psycher said, my mom always had a jar of pickled eggs ready to go. Pickled eggs. That's interesting. Now, where are you from? I'm curious because it seemed like pickled anything always feels like my parents pickle everything, and I'm curious if that means your parents are immigrants, but maybe they're not. I don't know. I'm just curious because my parents are, and our entire garage is filled with like jars filled with like pickled vegetables.
I watched the movie The Ladies' Man, the movie version of the hit SNL sketch with Tim Meadows.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
That I thought was very funny. And there was like one of the big set pieces was that they have to eat all of the pickled things in jars at a bar that nobody ever eats.
Oh.
And that also made me be like, is it a Midwest thing to eat pickled eggs in a jar at a bar? Where does it come from?
Well, now that psycher says Utah, people pickle everything here and we're really white. That's interesting because the first place my parents came to America was Utah. Just joking. I don't know if that's connected, but interesting. I didn't know people in Utah pickled everything.
Secret Mormon Anna Hosnia.
Vanna Jamma bars in upstate New York always have pickled eggs. What? This is so interesting to me. That's a thing?
It's a bar thing, but I think...
Yes, my dad is still a jazz fan. Go ahead.
My dad's also a jazz fan, but not the team.
Oh, he likes
just the music.
Jazz.
It's his birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday to my dad.
Happy birthday, Mr. Lambert. That's a funny thing. Happy birthday, Mr. Lambert.
Happy birthday, he would hate it. His name is actually Glenn, Captain Glenn Lambert.
Is your dad's name actually Glenn?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Glenn Lambert reporting for duty. That's how I imagine he is.
Oh, Mo in a chapter says Mo always has pickled eggs at the bar on The Simpsons.
Oh.
And yes, our dads are both chill, I would say. We don't get to be this chill without having some chill dads.
Yeah. Is he just as chill? He's just as chill. Just as chill. Okay. Palace Saloon in Tallahassee, Florida sells pickled eggs. Now, what does a pickled egg taste like? And have I had one before? I don't know.
I'm more familiar with the 1,000-year egg, which is when you pickle an egg in tea, I believe.
No, I don't even know what that is.
We're gonna
it's called a century egg.
It looks really cool. There's all kinds of weird egg things we need to learn about, I think.
Now, does that make it just like a kind of a salty sweet egg then, if you're pickling it?
I think so. Also, apparently...
with a tang, basically. There we go, a tang. That's the word I was thinking. Because I was like, salty sweet. How do I describe that? A tang.
Apparently, hard-boiled eggs are also a big spa snack.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
You can get a hard-boiled egg to eat in the spa.
I would love for someone to order a pickled egg and just watch Natasha literally like smoke come out of her ears from anger. And let's touch on the fact that Natasha cannot handle feedback. What is that?
She can't she pathologically is allergic to any kind of negative feedback, even nice feedback. She's like, don't say anything nice to me. I don't want feedback. Because remember, I think it's Daisy gives her a compliment too, and it's like, they liked the main, you made too much food, like, make less food. And she was like, mad that she said that.
So she literally says in her ITM, her in the moment interview, which is like her confessional, that's what I mean when I say whoa, Egg Reckoner is now following us. Whoa! We spoke way too much about eggs. Now we're drawing the egg crowd.
Egg crowd.
I was gonna say, okay, so in her ITM, she says, I worked at Michelin star restaurants. I know what the correct portion is. And it's like, it's not about that. It's about the people who are eating it and the portions are too big for them. No one's saying like, you don't know how to plate at a Michelin star restaurant. She's just
all over the place too, because she's like, I'm classically trained, don't interfere with me. And then it's like, you're clearly not classically trained. You don't know the difference between how to make different kinds of cooked eggs. I mean, she's still not the craziest chef we've ever had.
No.
By like a long shot.
I do miss Rachel. I will say, okay, Egg Reckoner says this account was made for a joke about 2 months ago. Hey, you know what works for us? Welcome to the egg party. We're egging you on, baby. Yeah, no, I think she's just defensive. And I also think she needs therapy. I think majority of the people who go on this show need therapy because they're clearly running from something.
I think you could say that about everybody on any reality show. Should probably
for sure
have therapy instead. In fact, reality TV should just be a trick to get people into therapy.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, you've been cast on this show. It's just right into this room. Okay, close the door, close the door. Okay, there's a therapist in there. Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think she needs to tone it the fuck down because I think she's going to screw herself over at this point.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think it's like...
She don't know what eggs are.
And she fucked up breakfast twice, and unfortunately breakfast is an important component of the trip for people,
especially like Americans
yeah,
love to be bitches about their breakfast.
Yeah, they want that breakfast buffet.
Remember that guy who needed like 8 like fried eggs?
Yeah, I mean, like, the whole trick of it is that you have to cook. Like, I agree that it sucks to have to cook a million different types of eggs.
Yeah.
For many different people, because it would probably be way easier to cook like 10 omelets or 10 plates of scrambled eggs or whatever. And I personally would find it super stressful to have to like follow a bunch of really, I think, again, I sympathize with Natasha, but she's got to watch her egg technique.
She's just got to be like, if you're not sure, like, one, Daisy needs to fucking tell her, regardless of how Natasha reacts. Pull up the fucking receipts. Pull up the receipts. I was
also like, you can't be surprised by Natasha acting that way.
Yeah.
It's your job as the chief stew to like manipulate her into thinking it's her idea to do the thing correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're so smart, fucking get her to do it without pissing her off. I feel like Daisy just also comes from this place of like, ugh, Natasha. Yeah. That doesn't help anything.
But the interesting thing is she did feel bad at the beginning of the episode that she went to Glenn and threw Natasha under the bus. So that was interesting. She had some remorse over it and was like, I'm going to try and be more constructive. And she does, but she once should have told her about the eggs, and two, Natasha ain't having it.
Too little, too late.
Yeah.
Daisy. Not enough.
Not smart. And you know what? I mean, she killed dinner. But the food was too much. Good.
But that's also like that kind of a complaint of like, you did a good job, but the portions could have been smaller.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't think anybody on a luxury yacht is going to complain about the portions being too big. They're only going to complain about the portions being too small. Mm-hmm. If it's too big, unless it's like really flavorless and bad, but if they get like a giant steak, they're going to be like, this is amazing. It's a fucking giant steak. That's what I wanted. That's why I'm paying all this money, right?
Yeah, I will say I thought that plating where she splattered everything was like really ugly. I was not. Well, it was
really funny, and it was really like American Psycho, like 80s food,
Yeah.
Where I was like, that was once a popular technique, and I would imagine it would still be popular on yachts for everything to be like the 80s, because I imagine it's always just kind of the 80s on yachts.
I was not. I really was like, ugh.
Like Vicky Bro said, it looked outdated.
It was.
Like, I agree, but I think the kind of people who want that experience might not even know that. They might be like, this is luxury. A bunch of little sauces drizzled on something.
And like splat,
Frank Martini.
Splat. I know Frank Martini would enjoy it, but I was like, it looked chaotic. Like, I was like, what is too much? Like, just literally do them in little circles. I don't need all this.
Anna Jamma says going to Glenn means nothing, though. It's like telling a cloud.
That's true. Glenn, there's no way Glenn remembers what you told him a second later unless it's like actually danger. He's probably like, okay. Good luck.
Way more. He got mad once about the boat getting clipped, but he didn't even get mad about them jumping into the water, even though they showed us that he could hear it. And he was like, oh, those kids.
Well, he's like, I don't have kids because of this. I cover my girlfriend's eyes when we walk by the wedding store. Can't ever get any ideas. Bye. I got cookies to make.
The thing, though, is like, if Natasha is just a scammer who like scammed her way into a career as a yacht chef, then like, honestly, props to her. I don't have to eat the food. I don't care.
Sorry, that was Zach. He did that on purpose.
Disagree.
I don't know why he
they
farted.
Hate to see a girl boss winning. Natasha, like, she's just bad at her job and has a big ego, like all the men who do this job on the show.
I don't think she's necessarily bad at her job, but I don't think she's as experienced as she claims to be. That's the thing.
I don't think so either. But again, I'm like, if she bluffed her way into the industry and onto this show, good for her.
Yeah, good for her. I mean, I believe she has worked with Michelin star restaurants hard to say if she's worked at them, but yeah, like you said, it sounds like she's done some plating for them. She's had offers. I believe that, but I don't think, I agree. Someone else wrote her timing is terrible. I agree that her timing isn't great. She's not good with that. She needs to work on that. And then also, she just needs to, like, if someone tells you that's not what an egg is, the style of egg, just listen, because clearly you're not good with breakfast.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like Daisy just hates her too, you know?
Yeah.
And she hates Daisy. So I think it's like no matter what Daisy tells her, because again, even when Daisy is like, the dinner was delicious, everybody loved it, Natasha's like, go away. I don't care. Don't say anything nice to me. I don't want to hear any criticism, positive or negative. I just want to cook in a vacuum. Because it does seem also like she became a yacht chef because she didn't like being yelled at by other chefs in other kitchens.
As they do most of the time. I feel like they become yacht chefs to have their own way, you know?
I'm saying like just like a culture of abuse in kitchens for sure. Also that like maybe she's just like recapitulating the way that Malia recapitulated Captain Sandy's shitty behavior, shitty narc behavior.
I have a friend who lives in Berlin, and he worked in those high power kitchens for a while. And he said it was like one of the most stressful environments he's ever been in. And he had to leave because it just like people were just like the head chef would just scream at you. And he just couldn't handle it. He's like, after a while, I was like, why do I need this abuse? And then he just went and worked in like a small restaurant that was really low key because he was like, I will just work with one chef who's like just like a cool guy, just nice or whatever, cool woman who's just like chill. And it's not like high pressured Michelin star shit. And it's like,
right, because I should always get so macho. Like,
it's also just it's such power. It's abuse of power, baby. That's right. Become out of control.
Right. I knew somebody who worked briefly for Scott Rudin and then like got a phone thrown at them or something and was like, it's not worth it.
No.
I don't want to do it that badly to get a phone thrown at me. But also, you should never have to get a phone thrown at you or a potato.
No. Nothing should be thrown at you at work.
Nothing should be thrown at you at work except an exciting new
venture
idea.
Yeah. Nothing should be thrown at you at work except a raise.
It's okay to toss podcast cables and say, give me the rope, like in Indiana Jones. That's okay also.
As long as it doesn't hit me across the face and ruin my beautiful face.
As long as it doesn't wrap around you like a magic rope and like pull, you know, like the golden lasso of truth that Wonder Woman has.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't make me have to tell the truth.
Vanna Jamma says smoking pot at work doesn't count as doing drugs, LOL. I was gonna say I disagree. I find it hard to smoke pot at work, but then I was like, I guess I'm at work right now.
Yeah. Except we don't make any money for this yet.
Well, that's why it's okay pot at work.
One day
we are like radio DJs.
One day we might make work. I don't really understand Twitch and subs and all that and like how that works.
I think we have to be like an official partner in order to get paid. But you know, tell Twitch that you just love the Chief Stews and you want them to be official partners.
Yeah, how do you do that?
Also, we're gamers now. We're gamer girls. I don't know if you heard.
We're gamers now.
We're e-girls and we game.
We're gamers.
Hard.
That is so silly.
Maybe we should talk a little bit.
Well, okay, so Jackson Cable, I always say Jackson Cable, like I'm out of my mind. Jack on Cable TV said, worst F1 driver as a charter guest? Okay, I'll tell you right now. In my opinion, I think the worst guest would be Verstappen. Can't stand him.
Which one's he?
He's the other Red Bull driver.
Is he's what's his first name?
Max, yes.
Oh, okay. He's like the Germany guy, right? He's not German, he's Dutch maybe?
Dutch. I think he's Dutch.
Okay.
He's a Dutch bro.
He's definitely got the most like movie Nazi accent.
Mm-hmm.
No, you know, I'm not saying he has any of those tendencies. I will just say that I find his voice absolutely terrifying.
He's the guy. Dat Psycher called him Max, Mr. Steal Your Girl Verstappen because he took Kvyat, I forget his name, Kvyat's seat at Red Bull and then eventually took his girlfriend as well. So he's not.
Well, they're on the Red Bull team.
Yes,
I'm still getting to know my teams. So I watched at Anna's urging and also my own personal curiosity, I watched 4 episodes of season 1 of F1 Drive to Survive.
Drive to Survive, yeah.
I want to call it like Speed to Succeed.
That's actually even better, Speed to Succeed. But that makes it sound like, do some speed, you'll succeed.
I mean, they do some speed and they do succeed. You described the show to me, but it wasn't until I watched it that I fully understood like what you were talking about, because you were like, it's a bunch of like rich idiots and they drive these really fast cars that cost so much money and they travel the world doing that, and they're all macho dickheads, and it's kind of a behind the scenes Hard Knocks type show.
Yeah. They give Netflix full access. It's kind of amazing. Oh, Dat Psycho wrote not just his girlfriend, the woman he had a child with. Whew, that's rough. He took a baby mama? Jeez.
That George Harrison and Eric Clapton style. Gotta watch out for your own friends.
Well, I'm sure they weren't friends. It doesn't feel like anyone's really friends. Like, especially the teammates. Like,
none of them are friends.
The only person I can imagine being friends with because he's such good vibes is Daniel Ricciardo. Like, it's hard to not like him.
I mean, they're all funny. It feels like a Christopher Guest movie. I just like didn't know anything about Formula One, and then I was like, oh, it is Le NASCAR.
That's right. Every team principal is like a Groundlings character.
Yes. Well, I also like I've seen Ricky Bobby.
Yeah.
It's not what the movie is called, like a million times. And I just was like, oh, like Sacha Baron Cohen's character is a French Formula One driver, and the joke is supposed to be about the culture clash of the European Racing League and the American one.
Yeah.
But it is funny because it's like it's a different type of trashy from American racing, but it is also, it's like classy trashy. It's like incredibly classy themed, but there's something still sort of just inherently trashy about racing super fast cars on a track.
Also fun. Jack on cable TV. Also, the Red Bull team principal Christian Horner is married to Ginger Spice, Jerry Halliwell, and she makes very occasional cameos, which is cool.
Wow, a wag. I love those wags.
Yeah.
Dat Psycher says, I started watching F1 for the cars and stuck around for the drama. It's a soap opera with some racing peppered in. This is the way in which I can get into a sport, is the psychological warfare aspect. And they're so funny because they're all just like, he is my teammate, but I must beat him into the ground. And the way to do this is to go fast.
Well, like more so now, you're only on season 1. Wait till you get in season 3. So much is going to change. So much happens. Like, what am I thinking? Like, Valtteri Bottas, which is Lewis Hamilton's teammate, like that guy is slowly building up like a tea kettle that's like about to like burst. Like, he's so tired of being number 2 to Lewis Hamilton. And also, so that's keep an eye out for that. See how he starts reacting. And he's like a scary Finnish Iceman.
Yeah, and they're all just like funny.
Yeah.
They all just have like funny different European archetypes.
Oh, yeah.
And
him and Kimi Räikkönen. Kimi Räikkönen's face does not move. He does not smile. He doesn't blink. He's so weird. But also another thing is, as you're watching this show to season 3, you're going to start to see that Red Bull starts doing really well. And Mercedes, who's been known for being like the best for like a while now, is starting to feel the pressure of Red Bull. So you're going to start to see like Toto Wolff, like he's feeling like, you start to see the like the scamming of like trying to fuck people over, like rise up. Like they don't want.
It's all about, it's such a mind game. It seems too. And I did just get up to the part where one of them is like, Red Bull, you know, it is a good team. It is a popular drink, but it is not a car.
Yeah, and
I
it's
want
like
to be on a team that is sponsored by a car.
Swallow your words, bitch, because they are coming.
Well, clearly, they're like the new money team in Formula One, and
that's
Formula One, even though it's only actually from the 50s, because now I obviously know everything about Formula One. And I learned that it was like the Grand Prix before, and then it basically like stopped for the war, and then when they rebooted it, it was F1. But it's just like rich people from all over the world. It is the cartoon wacky racers.
Yeah, and also like the fact that like I don't see the Europeans, like they also are weird about like their old ways of doing everything, and they're like not impressed by F1 at the time. I mean, now they know what's up because it's like, hey, guess what? You know what a lot of money buys? A lot of money from selling a bunch of energy drinks from like to high school bros. You know what that buys?
Some
Really
nice
smart engineers.
Cars. Yeah.
So those engineers are going to make bomb ass cars, and then you're going to be
what's so
in
weird
some
about
trouble.
it too, though, is it's like the drivers are so kind of incidental to who wins. It's like they clearly
you have to have a good car.
Right. Like it's like being a jockey, I imagine. It's like you're just there to ride the horse that's gonna win or lose. And I'm sure it feels like you're winning or losing, but it's really the horse. It's really just the car that, and it seems just like the more money you spend on the car, the faster it goes. So they're just all competing for like who gets the money to get the fastest car.
Right. So Vicky Bro
and you
said,
could die, right?
Yeah, you could definitely die. But I will say the cars are so high tech now, they shouldn't technically catch fire. Like, well, I'll let you get to it in season 3, but there is an incident.
God.
But they're not supposed to technically catch fire because they're so high tech at this point. Like fire, like a car catching fire is now like beyond them. They're like, what do you mean? That's not how these cars aren't engineered even to do that. But
cars were so dangerous, and they're like a little less dangerous now.
Yeah.
But still,
well, I mean,
really
cars, modern cars that we drive will definitely catch fire. I mean, like F1 cars are so high tech now that they're not supposed to technically, because they drive so fast, aren't in such danger all the time. But I will say, Vicky Bros wrote, didn't Honda pull out of F1? Yes. So Honda, if you guys recall, Honda used to have a Renault engine. But when Daniel Ricciardo leaves Red Bull for Renault, they also dropped Renault as an engine sponsor and picked up Honda. But Honda just announced that they're leaving F1 at the end of this season. So Red Bull will have to find a new engine sponsor. And I believe they asked for an engine or like a freeze on people like upgrading their engines. I don't fully understand what that means. Again, sorry guys, I'm a little dumb. But
no, but I like how completely arbitrarily complicated.
Yeah. So they're basically being like, hey guys, we're kind of fucked in the engine side. Can we not, can whatever the FIA, which is runs everything, can we stop developing our engines for a year until we can figure our shit out, because we're in like kind of a shitty space. And I don't fully know if everyone's agreed to that. I remember Ferrari agreed to it, but Ferrari is bullshit now.
But like
Ferrari agreed because Ferrari's got, I don't know what the fuck happened. Ferrari had like a weird secret incident where all of a sudden their cars weren't as good because they were doing something that low-key was not chill, and the FIA came and told them they couldn't do it, but they all signed NDAs, so we don't know any information on what happened.
Okay, I was gonna say, I also feel like because this show is a little bit propaganda for Formula One racing, there might be some other shady stuff about Formula One that we're not seeing on screen. But like with a business that revolves so much around money and like international travel, it seems almost impossible there wouldn't be some kind of like money laundering happening somewhere along the line here.
I think they just had a tech in their car that wasn't necessarily legal, and it was giving them like an upgrade that wasn't cool, and somehow Ferrari being Ferrari, like being so... Yeah, okay, so that psycher said it's all backroom deals to get advantage. Red Bull is like, hey, make the rules be this so we can still be good because we're burned every engine manufacturer bridge because we're messy, bitch. Yes. Vicky Bro says, let's talk about the American team. Haas, we don't need to talk about Haas because Haas ain't shit. We can talk about Gunther Steiner, their team principal, who appears to be the most stressed out man in the world. But Haas ain't shit, dude. I don't even know why Gene Haas... It made so much sense that Gene Haas is like, I ain't giving any more money to this. I wouldn't either, Gene.
How in it you are.
I wouldn't give any money either, Gene. This is so bad.
Have you ever watched NASCAR?
No. Outside of Ricky Bobby, no.
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 Why is F1 funny? It's just because they're funny, right? And because they're...
I think it's a part of it is that they got a reality show and then they really started to play it up for the reality show. Like Christian Horner is like a perfect reality show person because he gives Netflix what they want.
Right.
He gives them
like
the
Real
quotes.
Housewives. They're all divas. They're all like huge divas who everyone around them is like enabling them to be a diva because they just are like amazing at this one thing that they get to go do.
Yeah. And so I think, you know, like in the end of season 3, I'm not going to give you any spoilers, even though it happens in real time. It's like real life. And I'm like, no spoilers. But there's a scene where they're basically hiring a new driver and Christian Horner calls the person in his interview and offers them a job. Like that's the kind of, like, he gives them what they want, which is like, they're so, I don't know, they're playing into it as well. Like Ferrari, you know, in season 3, they basically kind of drop a lot of the fourth wall and like they'll straight up be like, oh, Netflix is here, you guys. Just so you know, Netflix is in our meeting filming us. So like everyone be aware, like Netflix is here. Or like they invited Netflix into a Ferrari PR meeting.
Right.
And it like
that, right. It's like they have nothing to lose because
yeah,
you know, they don't need to break America to be successful. But if they do break America, they're all such big divas that I'm sure they would love being famous in America too.
I think they realize like people are into this, and so they started to play it up more.
I feel like NASCAR is missing the European and culture class element. Even before the Netflix show, it was always a big bunch of divas.
Yeah,
that totally makes sense, and I do feel like it also has a similar vibe to Below Deck in that you are also getting to see a lot of insane places you'll probably never go.
Yeah, and also less Confederate flags.
Less Confederate flags, but you know, as soon as you said that, I was like, I'm sure Formula One is also very racist.
Oh, so something that they don't really cover is like Lewis Hamilton asking everyone to kneel with him during the anthems, the national anthems, and like most of them do, but the few that don't, including Max Verstappen, their explanation of why they don't is so European. Like they just clearly don't understand what the movement of like Black Lives Matter is.
Right.
They just have no sense of it.
Like a different kind of racist.
Yeah, they're just like, I believe, I forget who it was, maybe Charles Leclerc, I don't know, one of them was like, I don't trust this movement, like the Black Lives Matter movement, because it feels like it encourages violence. And it's like, okay, so you like read something about protests and you were like, that's violence.
Did they show them saying that stuff on the show, or is
no, these are all like, no, they don't really cover it on the show, which I think is unfortunate. Yeah. This is all stuff I've read on my own time. Yes, I read all this shit on my own time.
That happens on Hard Knocks too, where they're like, we're going to show you everything, and it's like to a point. We're not going to talk about players.
They give Lewis Hamilton like 10 minutes to talk about racism. And like how he had to like build his way up, and like everyone was racist to him, and he just is the only Black person. But Vicky Bro says, where do you hear all this? I Google it. I go, who kneeled? Who in F1 kneeled? And then I read all their responses to why, because I want to know if I'm like supporting like a straight up bigot, like whether they're European and like checked out. I still need to know like what's up, and I want to know who's respecting what Lewis Hamilton is trying to do.
I didn't even know that Lewis Hamilton was bringing kneeling into F1.
Oh yeah, he's always wearing like Breonna Taylor shirts. Like he always wears like he reps and talks about every person who's killed by police, and like he's an amazing person.
Yeah, I mean, he seems super cool, and I just assumed that the Dutch guy was a villain because of his voice.
That he is a villain.
Makes that. Look, I'm a German Jew too, so I don't I don't think all Germans are scary, or all German voices are scary, but like his fucking tone is like, ugh, God.
Yeah, and his dad was a driver.
Yeah,
he comes from like true spoiled like privilege.
Yeah, okay. So I get to root for Lewis Hamilton, and I get to root against that guy that I instinctively didn't like.
Yeah, and Vicky Bro says he was the only person to be mad about COVID at the beginning. There's a really great interview in season 3 that they show where they like are all in Australia right before they shut down the race. Like they all had to go to Australia and then they shut down the race while there because a bunch of McLaren, I think, engineers or team members caught COVID. And they're like, hey, Lewis Hamilton, like, what do you think about us all being here? And he's like, this is trash. We should not be here. This is bad. Like, that's basically the sentiment. He's like, this is like idiotic. Like, what are we doing? And then like hours later, the race was canceled and shut down.
Love seeing it happen in real time on reality shows. Dat Syker says Max's dad was a pure asshole too.
Yep.
I think he had a really rough upbringing. Not that that excuses him being a dick today.
I actually recommend going to listen to his dad's interview. Yes, I also listen to podcasts about F1. I'm really deep in. There's a podcast called Beyond the Grid. Listen to the Jos Verstappen. His dad's name is Jos. Listen to the Jos Verstappen interview on that. I'm sorry. Go fuck yourself. There is, like you said, there's no reason for his privilege to make, or his rough upbringing to be like, I don't know. Go listen to that if you guys want to know more about anti-vax Verstappen. I'm sorry. I don't know if he's anti-vax.
I'm picturing like just Klaus Kinski as his father.
You're not off,
by
that much.
Yeah. And again, it's like sometimes like, hurt people, but that doesn't mean
but then it's like you shouldn't raise like a privileged shitbag son,
Then it is a truly captivating. Thank you for bringing me in. Amazing.
Just wait till you get further.
Great compliment to Below Deck.
Just rich people.
Well, rich people, but also like the big races, just like the going from incredible destination to incredible Monte Carlo, and then we're going to Monaco.
Yeah. And they'll go anywhere. They don't care about like human rights abuses.
Well, I was going to say it also feels like there's a lot of like off-camera vice that we're not seeing at these big events.
Yeah. So there is the Rome races this weekend. That Syker says, go McLaren. You're like, hey, look, I would love for McLaren to win. I'm trying to get, was last week canceled? I thought it was this week. I don't know. Good question, Vicky Bros. That Syker will know. That Syker, you tell us. I want to say I was considering doing a live watch stream of it. It was China's Grand Prix and it was canceled. Okay, interesting. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, I guess China was canceled. I want to do a live stream, but it appears for us in California time, it's at 2:55 a.m., which I guess isn't bad, but it would. Are you guys gonna be watching it too? Is that worth a stream?
Just do it the next day.
Yeah, just like a rewatch.
As though it's happening.
Because usually it's just early Sunday morning. I need to go back and look at my DVR, but I'm pretty sure I saw it was at 2:55 a.m. I only watched the qualifying and the actual race. I don't give a shit about the practices. I don't care.
Another Josh Park says Lewis also a prominent voice for the disabled community. Dat Syker says watching F1 in America is brutal most weeks. I just download and stream it when I get home from work Sunday nights. Isn't that the magic of technology?
Also,
just like how you can watch this stream anytime.
I know. I learned about a thing where people with like rich people in LA with nice cars, they go to the top of the Grove parking structure and watch the race like in their cars, like on a big screen, like a drive-in.
What?
I learned that from the F1 Instagram account.
Let's go. See what kind of weirdos are into that.
I think you're supposed to have a nice car, and then also you're supposed to buy a ticket, probably.
We just are gonna show up.
Oh, we're just gonna walk up the steps.
Yeah. We're the media. We're fans.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to convince iHeartRadio to send me as press to the Austin Grand Prix.
They should do that.
Should they not though?
Yeah.
Because it's like $12,000 to sit in a paddock above Mercedes. I was like, I guess I really shouldn't spend that kind of money.
You're like, but the people want to know what it's like. I do think it's also, people are interested. It took me in, and I'm not a big sports watcher, but I definitely was like, it has the big personalities I need to get into something.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. Before
Syker says the people demand F1 content. We'll do more F1 content on this stream as well, because now we're both F1 heads.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I will, if I'm going to start streaming myself again racing, I will tweet it out. Also, if you follow this account, wait, no, not this account. You would have to follow my personal account, which is my personal, what is my personal account? It's AH6669. I'm going to type it out. My personal account.
Should I start streaming Mario Kart?
Yeah, we can race.
Yeah.
If you follow AH669, you'll know when I go live because I'll be streaming from my personal account. Or you can just follow me on Twitter because I'll literally just tweet it out and be like, I'm going to go stream now. It's usually at night because that's when I have free time to go push
out on the road,
push everything out of the way and get my my steering wheel and pedals set up. Because it's kind of big. You kind of got to move things out of the way. I don't have the chair yet, so I have to sit on my couch. And I also haven't figured out, because I have to do it in my living room, I haven't figured out how to actually show myself while I'm doing it. So when you're watching the stream, you can just hear me like screaming and talking to myself the whole time.
Going like, oh no.
And I interact with the chat as that psyker who joined me last time. Me and him were just chatting it up the whole time. Because I think you were the only person in the chat who knew anything about F1. Everyone else just like, what are you doing? But I try one day hopefully soon I'll figure out how to actually show myself racing in the corner, and then we'll be able to have some fun.
That psycher says it was lit.
It was, thank you so much. It was lit. There are a few things I want to touch on before we go from Below Deck, which I thought were funny. I made notes of. But do you remember when Allie says that she's attracted to weirdos who look unwell and have gaps in their teeth and are wild and turn out to be too much, and that she like really likes silver teeth?
Yes.
I was like, that explains Gary.
Yeah, it totally explains Gary, but I was also like, are you describing like Jack Sparrow? Like,
yes. Right? That's who she likes. Jack Sparrow, literally like a Johnny Depp character.
Which Gary kind of is.
You're right.
Gary's a Hollywood vampire for sure.
Gary is a Johnny Depp character where we're all like, I don't know about this.
We're like, did Johnny Depp do some crazy prosthetics and a wig again to play a man who's from either South Africa, Australia, or New Zealand?
Yes.
Yes.
Apparently.
Kind of looks like Tarzan.
So also another thing. Okay, we forgot to talk about this. Jean-Luc and Danny. That's apparently becoming a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Ugh. I don't know about that. I mean, hey, entertain yourself, Danny, but at the same time, like, don't let Jean-Luc think you're about to like marry this fool.
Well, I liked in the last episode when she was like, he's too tall.
Yeah.
It won't work.
Yeah. It's not going to work. He's too tall and he's also cranky. We forgot to also say that Allie cried because Jean-Luc was a dick to her and then Gary was a dick to her, and that made her cry, and she was having a really tough time.
Yeah. Emotions are running high this week.
Vicky Bro said, "Do we think that both JL and Allie overreacted to waking him up thing?" Yes, I do. I think JL overreacted when she went into his room by being like, "Fuck off, I'm sleeping." It's like, get over it. You're on a boat with a bunch of people. It happened. And then like Allie being upset that he told her to fuck off. I was like, dude, he was asleep. He didn't know it was you. Like, I mean, maybe he did, but he still told you to fuck off. It is what it is. Like, who cares?
A lot of people not sleeping well this week.
No.
Luckily, next week, it looks like they get off the boat finally.
Yeah.
And get to have dinner at a restaurant on land. So that's very exciting for viewers and staff.
Yeah, I'm curious how that works and like when it was filmed and like why it was chill. But I guess we also have had open air dining as well here.
Al fresco.
And also, I do want to say, Natasha does make a quick point that her grandmother had died a week before she left for the show.
Yes. She's more stressed out even than she normally would be.
Yeah.
I think. I just feel bad for her also because I'm like, she is also like the only woman of color on the boat, and the chef who sort of, she doesn't have a team, which is what she wants, but like it is a high pressure situation to be in, and all the chefs are kind of crazy.
Yeah. What else? I'm trying to hit on anything I missed that I wanted to actually bring up. Let me look at my notes.
Off Moon 24 reminds us of the Deathless quote, "He's a Great Dane and she's a Chihuahua," which was
terrifying.
What Allie said about why she couldn't hook up with Jean-Luc. I guess she got over that fear.
But they're not. That's the thing. Is like all they're doing is making out at night, which is hurting Jean-Luc's working, and I think he's gonna get in a little bit of trouble.
He's not sleeping because they're making out when her shift ends.
And it goes beyond that. He's not like completing his lists at night, which Sydney, when he does a night shift, Sydney wakes up and is like, "Oh, this guy's fucking up," and so it's about to get back to Gary, especially because he called Sydney a stage 5 clinger, so JL's about to get in some trouble.
Gary said his thing again this week of like, "I will not do dishes."
Okay, so that's another thing. So one, I want to say they gave Colin something to do this episode, which is to fix the tender. And then they also
trapped him in his little engineer zone.
That's right. By accident, because the guests wanted to come down and like see below deck. And I thought it was funny because they were like, "We want to see how the other side lives." And I'm like, the other side? These people are reality TV stars. They're not really the other side. They at one point were, but now they're straight up like...
They were like, "We want more camera time."
Yeah. So, yeah, they go down there and Colin gets locked in the bilge, which I thought was really funny.
It was really funny because they like trapped him in there and then forgot about him. They were like, "Can you stay down there for, well, we have to put the door down that we like normally leave open." And then he was like, "Help me." And they were like,
yeah, you have to be like, "Bang, bang, 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 bang." And then they let him out. But yeah, he got to fix the tender. And then something else happened where he automatically goes to help wash dishes at night at the end of his shift. And that leads Gary to go do it as well. But then as soon as they're done, they're like not happy about it.
No, they're like, Gary especially, it's just like, "This is women's work.
Yeah.
I won't be doing it because it's for women that wanted to be a waiter." He's just like Captain Sandy. He's like, "This is beneath me. I mean, I guess he's not like, I'm the captain. He's like, I have to go swab the deck. But he's also just like, my time is my time." I mean, I do normally hate the instinct of people at work, especially in service jobs, to be like, you can't relax for a moment, anytime you have a moment that you're standing, you should be like swabbing or whatever.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
But I do also think with the boat, it seems like there's so much stuff to do constantly that there really is never a moment when the slate is completely cleared of things that need to be done, especially on the sailing yacht.
The work literally never ends.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Connor Talk says, "Love the crosscut of Gary complaining while Daisy told the girl she was thankful for the boys helping out."
But that was like him being like, "Where are they? Why are we doing all the work?" And they're just upstairs being like, "We're so happy that the guys have decided to help." And I was also like,
let them have a smoke break for once.
Yeah.
Let the ladies relax too.
Yeah, well, that was a fun episode. I'm excited for next week. Do you think Sydney... I have a few questions. Do you think Sydney is finally going to get the hint that Gary and her can't happen? Because on the episode, she says she's done. That's never going to happen again. She's going to move forward. We'll see.
I think she's going to say she gets it, but I think she's going to be like Stacy in Wayne's World and be still constantly like parading by him. Like, "This is what you're missing."
Right. Vicky Bro says
"Bet you wish you still had this."
Yeah.
And he'll be like, "No, I don't actually. I don't care. I don't want it." And she'll be like, "I knew you'd come back to me."
Yeah.
"Gary, we have such chemistry and you're my boyfriend forever."
Yeah.
Then she might turn. She might also turn and get angry and become the Fatal Attraction lady.
Nice. Sorry, I was reading the Exact Window is now hosting the stream with one viewer. Thank you, Exact Window.
Oh, right. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, so I also think what you said, she's gonna be like, she's lost in the sauce, as Zola
Yeah.
once said. She's lost in the sauce, and that's unfortunate. But you know what? I hope she leaves this boat and learns that, one, you cannot climb into a person's bed while they're drunk and asleep. Not okay. I hope she figures that out. And after watching this, is like, well, now I know that was shady and weird and creepy. And you would never want a man to do that, so don't do that to anyone.
Hope so. I'd love to see her on the after show talking about what she thinks went wrong with her. She's pretty self-aware. She's like, I'm fucked up. I only like guys that hate me. I need attention all the time.
Right. She's like, I like guys who don't remember my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
Yeah, and then not sexually assault people.
It's funny, like, the chat always tries to stop us from using the word bogan. Is it bad?
I mean, I think it's like white trash. I think it has a.
I don't want to use it if it's offending anyone. I don't know if it's like a what is it? I have never heard it outside of when Allie said it.
Is it racial? So I don't know.
I'm sorry if that we are just dumb and been using this word and not aware, but
no, I feel like I've looked into it before.
Hopefully, it's not a bad word. But she did call herself a bogan, and they aired it, so it must be.
My understanding is that it's like hillbilly.
Right. Okay. Can someone write hillbilly in the chat? Well, let us try redneck. See if that doesn't allow it. That'd be wild if they're like, sorry, you cannot use this type of language.
It sounds like it's named after a river called the Bogan River. Possibly. And it's from the 80s.
Wait. Okay, well, good night, Nikki Bex. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
It's like hillbilly. It's like pejorative, but some people reclaim it. It's like a redneck.
So McConnor Talk wrote hillbilly, but it starred out where the eyes are. Now, did you do that on purpose, or is that what the thread did? And Jack on cable TV, you did get moderated, but I allowed your comment because I could see it. Oh, okay. He was Connor Talk was joking. I was like, wow, you really can't say hillbilly.
I think it's like hillbilly. I think it's more like white trash because I think it has just like a strong connotation of like lower class white people.
I see.
But I would love for some Australians to come. I will ask my Australian friend who I once asked to explain shoeies, the Australian drinking game where you drink out of a shoe.
Oh, they have to do that in F1 at the end when they win. They can do shoeies.
Ew.
I saw a photo of
from the shoes they
Ricardo
wore
and and Hamilton doing shoeies from them, and I was like, oh. They used to do that in rugby as well.
People,
yeah, he does shoeies because that psycher and Vicky Bro said Daniel Ricciardo loves to do shoeies, and it's because he's Australian.
Right.
He's low key a bogan. No, I don't know, but he's from Perth and lives on a farm, so he likes that kind of shit. Australians are next level of like they just want to party and like send it. Like that's what they want to do. They just always want to send it.
That's what they do on Summer House. They fucking send it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. This has been a record long.
I know we gotta go.
Stews, but I had so much fun tonight. I just couldn't stop.
Thanks for talking
about the cars.
F1 and watching F1. That was fun. It's nice to have someone to talk about it. I will say, but as we go, I'm going to send this to you. Lewis Hamilton has a song he collaborated on with Christina Aguilera that is super, super explicit.
I know he's dated some hotties.
Yeah, he was with Nicole Scherzinger,
the girl from the Pussycat Dolls, who the song Amber by 311 is about.
So, I think I would have to look it up.
No, he was. I remember that vaguely. And
I'm gonna send you the song he did with Christina Aguilera that is horny. I was like, whoa.
I'm ready.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please follow us at Deckheads Pod on Instagram and Twitter. You can email us at deckheadspod@gmail.com. Keep sending us stuff. We love it. Keep telling your friends about our stream. Keep coming back. We love tea. Tell us any of the tea you have. Molly, where can people find you?
You can find me at Molly Lambert on Twitter and Molly_Lambert on Instagram.
Nice. And I'm at Anna Hosney on Twitter. You could follow us, and we will be here every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. And yes, we were talking today about F1 Drive to Survive, which is on Netflix, and we were also talking about Below Deck Sailing Season 2, Episode 7. Yeah, I'm gonna try and watch. Is Summer House in season right now? It is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Well, maybe I'll go back and watch after 3 and onward, where it gets better, and then
hell yeah, maybe I'll go back and revisit it again.
Okay.
Revisit my own last summer.
Perfect. Yeah, and then we can chat about it more. And Real Housewives of New York is starting on May 4th. We might have to talk a little about that as well.
Oh, I would love to talk about that as well.
Thanks again, y'all.
Thanks for watching.
Follow us so you can keep up with us.
Yeah.
What we're doing.
Live to go fast.
Live to go fast. Woo! I just want all the glass to fall to the ground as the boat tips in a sail.
Abuse of power comes as no surprise. Woo!
That's right. Yeah, woo! Yeah, that's the vibe. Terrible. All right, guys. Good night. Au revoir.
piece of me died. And as I look in this arena across the globe, a piece of you died, or else you wouldn't be here. Those are the memories that we have to live with and we learn from. I promise you, from this day forward, I will live with the memories of knowing that I had a little brother that I tried to help in every way I could.